We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
I'm gonna mute.
Oh yes, bitches. Welcome to Nothing Sacred. I'm Maxwell Silverhammer, and he's
I am cruise control. I'm trying here. You guys can hear me?
We can hear you, and we got Patrick Cullinan and Andy Carrier, who you guys might remember from Valor Station, back on again. What's happening, guys?
What's up?
Man.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
And who was the guy? You said you had a guy with you, Andy, that might say a few words later.
Yeah, he's out putting fires out. So Patrick is at the Post Critical Incident Seminar in Georgia. They crank up in the morning. They're on a mountain, and I'm up in New York at the Post Critical Incident Seminar up here in Binghamton, New York, on top of a bigger mountain. And Jim Bannish is he is the president and founder of the New York Law Enforcement Program.
Okay, now I'm
so
good.
he is out putting fires out before the seminar starts. So he'll be back in a minute.
Okay, cool. Well, the main reason we wanted to get you guys back on. Oh, I'm sorry, but what were you say, Chris? I'm cutting you off there.
Well, I just want to say sorry about the issues that I had with connecting. I think you guys can hear me somewhat decently now.
Yeah. We hear you. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, you sound a little tinny, but you know.
Yeah, well, I'm on my phone because I'm in Vegas. So I was supposed to go back home on Friday, but I decided to stay until Monday. So first of all, I want to thank both of you for your service and your dedication to first responders and all of that. It's not any of that, all of that.
The whole thing, whole enchilada.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's why I wanted to have you guys on again, because we were so upset that Valor Station hasn't been implemented yet. So we wanted to make sure that people knew.
Yeah, what's happening with that, man?
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
Where to start?
Yeah. When did we have this it was about a year ago.
I think it was like June of last year, I believe we were talking.
Yeah, so,
and just to remind people, Valor Station is a treatment center for first responders dealing with PTSD, drug problems, alcohol issues, things of that nature.
yeah,
So
all the co-occurrence stuff that goes along with that.
Yeah.
I'll tell y'all when we were on June the 7th of 2020. And the reason I know that is because the next day was June the 8th. My birthday was my 50th birthday.
Oh, that's right. We had you on the day before your birthday. Yeah. And then I found out it was your birthday on Facebook.
I was sitting at Myrtle Beach on the ocean when we had this conversation last time.
That's right. So now what's happening?
That had to be about a year and a half ago, because you guys were about to get you guys are really very enthusiastic about what was going on, and you thought that everything was going to work out.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, bring them up to speed with where y'all, because I wasn't at that court hearing where we.
Okay, so we had so just to catch you back up, kind of a little repeat before, it was a zoning issue with Valor Station in its current location. And at the time, the only way to get to the facility was to go through a neighborhood, the Green Meadows subdivision. And the residents of Green Meadows were adamant that we not be there. So we had a zoning issue with them. And so
that's gotta be frustrating when people don't want to help people because they're thinking it's some kind of it seems really frustrating because a zoning issue, what does that even mean?
Right. Well, it's a stance. They're taking a stance, but my opinion and everyone that's trying to boots on the ground people trying to make this happen, it's kind of an obtuse stance that they're taking because they don't want to talk to us about it. I mean, they don't want to hear. They've given us two major concerns, and that was one, traffic through the neighborhood. Well, there's a good friend of ours named Jody Lott. She's a state representative, and Um, through her efforts, we were able to find another way in where we're using a technical school drive on opposite side of the property where we'd come in that way, thereby, not going through the neighborhood. So it took that out of it. And then, when they say they look at it as a drug and alcohol rehab center. That's the only thing they see.
Yeah,
that's just part
that's
of it.
Ridiculous.
It's the other stuff that goes with it. It's a PTSD. It's a major depressive disorder. It's anxiety, depression, all the things that oftentimes co-occurs with substance abuse.
Yeah.
So it's a two-pronged approach to treatment, but they see it as a methadone clinic. They see it as these firefighters and police officers wandering in the neighborhood, breaking into cars and stuff like that.
Ridiculous.
These people all are employed that come to us. So one of the determining factors as to whether or not they keep their job is the success or not that they realize it in this program. So it's not like they're going to be, they're going to be on their P's and Q's while they're there. And,
of course,
they're not going to be on the street corner trying to score some crack, cocaine, or some meth.
Right.
Public servants if they're addicted, it's generally three things, and it's three things that you can find in any of our homes. It's beer, liquor, prescription pain meds.
Yep.
So they're not going to be on the corner trying to score a Bud Light. They're going to be in there trying to, because most of these people are going to be voluntary.
Right. They check themselves in. It's not like they're ordered by the court, to go, do this mandatory program. You know what I mean?
Right. So we went through, just long story short, we went through the zoning issue, the zoning with the county commissioners, and we didn't get the needed votes, the required votes for it to pass. So we took them to court. Initially, we took them to federal court because we saw, and our attorneys saw, some ADA violations. Protected classes, like someone with PTSD, like someone with that suffers from major depressive disorder or addiction. As long as you're not in active use, so as long as you're in recovery, whether that's 2 days or 2 months, or you have PTSD or major depressive disorder, those are all protected under the ADA, protected classes. You cannot discriminate against people with those disorders. So we thought that we had a federal case. Well, the federal court kicked it down to the local superior court. This past June, we went to June 15th. We went before a superior court judge, and he said he'd have a ruling within 30 days. And this is in June, and we haven't heard anything yet. Now, one thing I did leave out is prior to the county commission vote, you have the planning and zoning committee that basically answered to the county commissioners. They voted to pass zoning, and then when it went for the full vote for the county commission, like I said, it was we failed 5 votes to 4, but you have to have 6 votes to pass, and one of the commissioners abstained, where the mayor would have had to break the tie and vote. So it was politics, truth be told.
I just don't understand. It seems like such a cut and dry thing. It's like you're helping the people who have been,
these are first responders, man. Yeah.
These people are like, what do they expect? Okay. First responders are going to be picking up the first responders who are getting the crack on the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's it. I think part of this is just it's education, man. These people need to be do they understand these are first responders, not just like you were saying earlier, people going through a mandatory drug program, or I don't know. What have you pushed any I don't know. It sounds like there just needs to be education on this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we've tried to educate, but people don't want to listen. When you don't want something to happen, when you're totally against something, any excuse is good enough to use. And you're going to be shut off to it. They don't want to hear it. There was I can't remember the guy's name, but this has turned into a political thing. And I think this speaks to the decision or the lack of a decision. I can't remember his name, but he was the French president right after World War II. He said that politics is the art of delaying a decision till it becomes no longer relevant.
Just
Yeah.
keep
And
pushing
that's what I just feel like, is going on with it.
Do you feel like it's a situation in terms of the political scene, in terms of the defund the police kind of animosity? Do you think that has a lot to do with that, or is that not something that has to do with that?
Pat, I don't know about you, but I think at the very least it's bad timing that all of this is going on while we're trying to get this to pass.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think that because of the climate that we're in going through this, that the opponents weren't as hesitant to come out vocally against us because it just seemed like it was okay. It's acceptable if you don't agree with law enforcement just to show everybody, I don't agree with them. I don't like them.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question to ask, Cruise Control, because you're right. I mean, there is a very anti-law enforcement sentiment, and so anything now, this is just like another nail in the coffin. Like, well, now there's addicts too, and law enforcement. Oh, hell yeah! They're building their fort.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, it's it's been said, and I'm stealing this, but everyone's always heard that the gateway drug is marijuana. It's not. It's trauma. So when you're involved in something, and especially when it's cumulative, this stuff day in and day out, you're going to address that stress somehow. And whether it's a drug, whether it's alcohol, which is the drug, and over time, that 1 or 2 beers a night evolves into so much more than that.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's oh, well, then you're right. I like that. That's very well said, where the gateway drug is the trauma, the initial thing. So
right.
Yeah, because obviously with most police officers and first responders, they know firsthand how awful substance abuse and all that kind of stuff is. So but then again, when you are when you see all that stuff all the time, like what else can you do to numb to numb the pain when you're literally seeing dead bodies all the time, as a first responder.
Oh, yeah. Well, and not only that, but the things that people are shooting at you, God, and now, especially now, it's probably even gotten worse, huh? You guys, with all the rioting. I mean, I've heard of bricks being thrown at police and all kinds of bad shit.
Yeah. How do you guys, because obviously, like I said, we talked to you last year, it was like all positive, like, yes, this is going to happen, everything's going to be good. Who I know you said that there were some people, like, in terms of zoning and stuff, but who are the biggest people that are pushing against this?
Yeah, your biggest opponents.
The biggest opponents or proponents?
No, opponents. The ones that are pushing against you.
Yeah.
Pat, you want to take this, or?
Yeah, so it's the biggest opponents. What has happened is it's become political. What happened was a state senator's mother who lives in the neighborhood told her son, I don't want him in the neighborhood. I don't want him in the neighborhood. And he then went to people in the neighborhood and told them a lot of mistruths, and then told different commissioners that they better align with him.
Wow.
And I say that, I mean, that's information we've got fed back to us, and it all makes sense because a lot of the commissioners that voted against it have historically been in favor of first responders. But, if you take a powerful state senator whose mom doesn't want it in her neighborhood, he can have political influence on local elected officials.
It's amazing. Disgusting.
So it's come down to politics. And think about this, y'all. So much about first responders and what's going on, specifically law enforcement, because come on, y'all, let's get real. Everybody loves a firefighter. The firefighters burn my house to the ground, and I'm going to hug them and tell them I love them. Thank you for coming. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because you got the big insurance payout.
Right. Exactly. But and everybody wants.
The firefighters and the EMTs don't actually have to be liable for actually having to cause violence against people, and that's the problem. Is that you're a firefighter, you don't actually hurt people,
Actually,
so, like the police, because my point is that like police are considered like they're fighting conflict, so there's always something.
They get negative.
While firefighters, all they do is save babies, or EMT.
Right.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Well, you know what? Hopefully, this woman won't need an ambulance at any point. This senator's mother, and if she does, well, hopefully the paramedics will be drunk or high, right?
Well, and that's the thing about. Here's the thing about it, and this is what I've said all along. No matter if they like you or not, law enforcement, if they don't agree with you, if they don't agree with your politics, even if you've fought the police in the past, if you call for help, they're always coming to you, and they're going to give you the same response and the same service that they're going to give any other community member. And this is what baffles me. If they call 911 on any given day in that neighborhood, any first responder is coming blazing to them. But now, if that same first responder needs help, they're not welcome in their neighborhood.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's really scary. And it's also the correlation between like a first responder who's trying to deal with some PTSD or whatever the hell they're dealing with, to a normal, I'm not gonna say a normal drug user, but what I'm saying, like there's just a difference there. I wonder, like, how can they like think that people, what do they think, that they're just gonna be wandering around the streets?
Yeah, what's the idea there? What do they think is going to happen? Well, I think it's like Andy was saying earlier, that they're going to be out there trying to score dope or whatever, just fucking up the neighborhood, like the tent cities or whatever with their heroin needles. It's totally stupid. I mean, it's ignorant.
It is. Well, when we had one of the county commission meetings, the senator was there, and also a state representative was there who was also on the bandwagon against us. And I was just waiting for it to happen. Sure enough, it did. He brought up the PR word, police reform. And I'm like, I was just waiting, and we got cut off. The mayor cut us off because our attorney was going to let me speak next. And I was going to say, okay, great, let's talk about police reform. We've reformed one officer at a time, and that's exactly what we plan on doing at Valor Station. Because before you can reform any police, let's say, policy or laws or anything, that the kind of police reform they're wanting, before they'll ever follow any of that stuff, they have to be okay themselves. They have to be okay, physically, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. They have to be squared away themselves before they know to follow this other stuff, before they care to follow this other stuff,
Right.
And so we have to get people right in order to do their jobs. And there was one, I believe that same senator had said, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, that if we have all these officers and firefighters out there with PTSD, then they don't need to be in that line of work.
That's exactly. Yeah. If they have PTSD, they don't need to be in that line of work.
That's Well,
so in other words,
well, and it can be fixed. I guess that's the thing, that it can be fixed. This isn't like a terminal thing. All they need is a little bit of treatment, or whatever that you guys do for them.
The thing of it is, if you look at the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, that's what we use. That's what we diagnose out of. That's like the mental health. I don't want to say the Bible, but it changes. There's different. Right now, number 5 is out.
Oh, they're at 5 now?
It changes as it goes. Yeah, the DSM-5. But anyways, if you look at all of the diagnoses in there, PTSD is one of the, if not the most manageable disorder in that book. You can live with it and you can do your job with it. But that's one of the things, like what we're about to do tomorrow here in New York, what Pat's about to do in Georgia, is we give people tools and how to address that stuff. And so you can work with it. You can work a whole career with it. But the key is to keep it at bay and be able to do your job and your day to day, whether it's your home life or your work life, is generally pretty good. And that's all we're trying to do, and they're keeping us from doing that.
So for Valor Station, it's not just a place for those who are no longer EMTs or police officers. It's for continuing officers and continuing first responders, correct?
That's actually mainly who it is for, current active members of the public safety community. So police, fire, EMS, dispatchers, and corrections.
So your idea for Valor Station is not to help people who are no longer officers. It's to help people to continue to do their jobs, but yet also get the help they need as they are continuing to do their jobs.
Correct. But we're not, if we have a retiree, and we've talked about this before, or someone say that's working the job but left early because of all those things that we just mentioned, we're going to do our best not to turn people away.
Yeah. Oh,
of course. But I think it's kind of crazy to hear, like, you know what, let's not help these people do their jobs while they're doing it. Let's vilify them. Wow, that's so crazy.
Is there any lights at the end of the tunnel by chance? Are there any positives that are coming that might be able to give you guys an ace in the hole, or kind of, get this rolling?
Yeah, so there is, there's been some talks now about the property, about selling the property and just starting over from scratch in the neighboring county. What's funny is the neighboring county, their county commissioners and their county administrator have all approached us and said, we want Valor Station in our county. Please sell that place and come relocate up here. That's great. We love that. We would love to be able to do that. The facts are we own 20.65 beautiful acres with a 13,300 square foot facility that's got bedrooms, a commercial kitchen, a cafeteria, breakout rooms, offices, a chapel. It's got all of these things already there, and we own it free and clear.
Yeah, you already have it. You have the facility right there. Well, all you need to do is just approve it, and it's done. And you can help people that are literally going out every day to get shot at.
Pretty much.
Oh man, it's really frustrating because when I heard about this last year, because I've been following you guys on Facebook, and at the beginning of last year, and all of a sudden I started seeing all these posts about like they're not allowing us, we don't have the funds, we can't do this, and it's just like, what, like it's got to be demoralizing as well for officers as well when they need anybody first responders, they need help, and the community is like, you know what, you can come rescue me when I need help, but I ain't gonna give you a place to stay.
Yeah, not my job to help you, kind of thing.
It's funny, you hit the nail on the head with that. So a lot of the people that are at this seminar and the one that Pat's at, and we'll see it tomorrow. We've seen it many times before. They're not only here for the trauma that they've been involved in, what they saw and were a part of. It's the moral injury. It's how they're treated by both the administration, the people that they answer to, and the public. So I don't think has there ever been a time where that's been more true than in the last, say, year and a half to 2 years. Let even go back to Ferguson through now, but especially in the last year and a half, where you're under a microscope, constant scrutiny by not only the public, but you think about these chiefs and sheriffs and heads of agencies. Who do they answer to? More times than not, elected officials.
That's
so
the problem.
It runs downhill. So when you have this collision of trauma with moral injury, that's not a good recipe. So mental health, not only in general, especially since COVID, is through the roof. Well, it's through the roof for first responders too.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, God. And then you compound that with all this crap now with this, George Floyd and all this other stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, so we're out there doing this for you. not for you. I mean, because you know, obviously you have a career, but the point is that you're actually going out and doing this, and there's no, like, people are like, yeah, we don't give a shit about your mental health. You know, you just, all you are is just someone to come and take my cat out of the tree, or save me from my house when it's burning, or, oh man.
Yeah. Well, people, and the people that are against us, to me, are ultimately cutting their own throats, because how so let's say you get stopped, or a loved one gets stopped by the police officer. Who do you want stopping you? You know, someone that's one step away from taking their own life. You know, someone that's just this cynical, jaded, for lack of a better word, asshole police officer, right, that has just, you know, has had to endure these rigors throughout his career, that's had no support. Or do you want someone that's been to one of these seminars, that's had some help, that's maybe working a 12-step program, whatever the issue is, they're addressing it. So who do you want? Who would you rather deal with? Which firefighter, which paramedic do you want coming to your house?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier about the drunk paramedic.
Right.
You know, same thing. Like, you know, this lady, I'm sure she's in her 90s, or, you know, but definitely a senior. And her big concern is she doesn't want that there. Well, hopefully when you need paramedics or fire, you know, they'll be sober when they come, right?
Well, not just sober, but just having a
clear mind,
a clear mind, like a stable mental faculties to work with. Like, if you have a place that can help police officers deal with their shit, so they can help us deal with our shit, then it's right. So insane. It's so insane that this is such common sense to me. That's why I'm so angry about this. It's just,
it's like, very short-sighted.
Yeah, I just don't even get it. I don't get it.
It's nuts.
Y'all, I've got something really positive I want to mention to y'all, though. And I want Andy, I hadn't even told Andy I was going to bring this up, but I know he won't mind. So something really exciting happened that Valor Station brought that nobody else has ever done. And that was this post-critical incident seminar that we're doing here in Georgia and in New York this week, is historically been for active first responders. And Andy and several others in different states, and myself, have talked for a number of years about the importance of, in the future, possibly having one specifically for retirees, because these men and women, they take all this stuff and then they go home and they're just sitting in a chair.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It really becomes toxic then, because they don't even have that outlet of going to work and interacting with people and things like that. So we brought the first one of its kind to the entire nation, and had people as far away as California, from Sacramento, as far up as New York. I mean, it was crazy, the people that attended it. You want to touch on that, Andy?
Sure. So if you look at, let's say, the mortality rate with police officers after retirement, depending on which study you read, it's anywhere from 59 to 64, the average life expectancy. Now, there's a difference between life expectancy and lifespan. It's two different things. So we're just talking life expectancy. And so why is that? So unaddressed trauma, if you're living in trauma time, it doesn't matter whether that trauma was last week or 30 years ago. It's almost as if it happened just yesterday. So if you've not done anything to address the trauma and the cumulative stuff, see, the reason that, I mean, it affects you, but not nearly as hard as it does in retirement sometimes, is because you're steadily moving. You know, throughout your career, you're steadily moving. There's a saying that that busyness is an acceptable pathology to anxiety. You know, so as long as you keep busy, you're fine. And a lot of people will keep busy because they know what happens if they sit still. They can't.
Yeah. So
we'll see that tomorrow when people are telling their stories. You'll see the knees jerking, the feet tapping, the people that can't sit still. So you couple that into the fact with loss of identity. You know, when you retire, you're no longer a state trooper. You're no longer a deputy sheriff or a police officer. You're no longer the sheriff, which we had a sheriff of 34 years at the seminar, 36. And So that's, suicide is unbelievably high in the retirement community with first responders. So the neat thing, and Pat will back me up on this, a lot of the guys that we had come that came, they weren't really knowing what to expect. But now, I mean, after it became one of those things, you never knew how bad you needed it till after you got it. And after they got it, now they get it. And it's, you had these guys saying, I wish we had this crap 30 or 40 years ago, I mean, so I guess it's never too late. But so that was our first, if I had to guess, our first of many that we're going to have for the retirees.
Sounds like a great seminar. It's very, because it addresses that, because you're right. I mean, you think, all right, you're no longer a police officer. You don't have to, dodge bullets or pull a baby out of a burning car or some shit. But now all that stuff that you did experience is still weighing heavy on your mind because you never dealt with it.
Well, and it comes back to you twice as hard because you have time to sit and think about it, of all that stuff that comes back.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of these guys and gals are so frustrated because it's like, okay, this was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30. Why is it bothering me now? So it's not just the trauma, it's the not understanding why that it's affecting you now.
Well, that's the one thing that the sheriff said. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying that sheriff that he mentioned that was a sheriff for 36 years. I mean, that's what he kept saying over and over. Why is it affecting me now? It didn't affect me for all those years.
That's you're right.
You have time to think about it.
Yep.
No.
Your mind's free.
And also,
or not free.
You also, well, considering the current climate, it's like you serve all this time and do all these things for people, and then they go, you're an asshole. So you're retired, and they say, oh, you're just a police officer. Screw the police. It's like you go through that whole process of working for 30 years, and then you retire. Not only do you not know what you're doing, people are shitting on you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's a ugly situation.
But the thing is, this is why it's great to have you guys on, because you guys are like, you know what? It's not just negative. Oh, it's not terrible. There are people that are helping out now, like you guys, like both of you, speaking in New York. What's the other place you're speaking in? Or you're having because I know
Georgia.
You're having New York.
I think it's Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah,
right.
In North Georgia and New York.
Nice.
Right.
So you guys are hitting parts of the country to sort of educate a little bit, huh?
Yeah, and Andy's about to head to Sacramento next month, Andy?
Yeah, first week in November.
Oh, wow.
It's actually up in wine country. It's in the Napa Valley.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't go to that one, being an alcoholic. Like, no, Patrick, you're not going to Napa Valley.
You're hitting the
no
winery,
wine
man.
For you.
Wow. Well, is there anything like, for people listening, is there anything they can do to help out, man?
Yep.
As far as what, promoting Valor Station?
Or just anything that can maybe get this moving, to get this going, so then you guys can actually have this happening.
I think the biggest thing is, and we said this on the last time we were on the show, the Facebook page, Supporters of Valor Station, is where we put all of our information out. We are starting to do some seminars, just like the retired post-critical incident seminar. We just had a peer wellness seminar for peers to, do some self-care stuff. And I don't know, with everything moving forward with those seminars and other things that we're doing, I think that the biggest thing that people can do now is just support us and spread the word, because when we do get grounded for the inpatient stuff, because we're already doing outpatient stuff locally, and we're also doing those seminars that we're inviting people around the country, these people, these men and women around the country are still welcome to come, and they have already shown that they will. I mean, just like having Sacramento officers, Las Vegas officers, New York officers get on planes and coming to Georgia for these things. I think that's the best thing they can do, is come show us support on that page and spread the word.
Yeah. Yep. And obviously you're going to be posting stuff about your seminars on the supporters of Valor Station page, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And that was one thing, since we just wrapped up the peer wellness seminar, there should be something as soon as we do these post-critical incident seminars. We'll be posting something about everything that went on with that.
Good deal.
I think one of the things, like I said, I've been kind of been negative the whole show because I'm just so mad about it. But I think one of the things that people don't realize is, or at least a lot of the first responders, is that 90% of everyone is in total support. You know,
that's true. You have more supporters than the opponents. You know,
they just don't know what's going on in the minds of the people that have to deal with seeing all this trauma every day. You know, seeing bodies. You know, I don't even know what the hell you guys see. I'm not even going to make assumptions. My point is, I know it ain't good. So it's like, but I think a lot of people, if they just realize, like, hey, it's like it's an awareness thing. I think people don't get how much like something like Valor Station could help people. You know, because if you really think about it, like, I mean, when you wake up in the morning and you work an 8-hour shift, and you know I'm not gonna make assumptions, but you know you're probably gonna see a body that day or something awful. You know, like
well, and maybe that's it too, because you know I know a lot of police work. It's not that every day you're going there having gun battles with people or having suspects running, but that's the thing, that it's even more fucked up when it does happen, you know, and all of a sudden you're going, oh damn, I you know, like I was kind of getting now all of a sudden the training's got to kick in. So that's, I think, what's even more traumatic, I would think.
Yep. Yeah. Hey guys, Jim Bannish just walked in. Can we get him to say
sure,
a couple words? So I'll introduce him. Jim is the president of the New York and founder of New York Law Enforcement Assistance Program. He is a deputy sheriff in Warren County, New York, which, if you know where Lake George is, that's where it is. Mm-hmm. And he was also the 2020 Time Magazine Man of the Year. So I just thought that was kind of cool. So
that is cool.
Yeah. Here's
he's foolish. But he is my man of the year.
So, hey, Jim, welcome to the show, man. Nothing sacred.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And of course, thanks for your service, Jim.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So what's your role here with the Valor Station folks?
We're supporting Valor Station 100%. Our role with Valor is we need Valor Station. Valor Station is key to what we do here in New York and in all the states, because we don't have facilities that can handle police officers. It takes a certain type of facility to take care of what we need. So without the support and for what Valor Station is doing, we're going to continue to not have something out there. And I think that once Valor Station is up and running, you're just going to see it spread nationwide, because there's such a need throughout this country for what they're doing.
So let's to get this straight. How many other facilities are there like Valor Station in the country at this point? You guys know.
Well, with what Valor Station's doing, there's no other facility that will be for designated for first responders. There's a lot of facilities that have a first responder track program, or what they call a first responder program, but it's not going to be for first responders. What Valor Station is doing is unlike anything ever done. And it's something that's going to be, I think, once it kicks off, I don't think you'll see it stop. I think you'll definitely see it spread throughout the nation. There's just such a need for it right now with what law enforcement's going through and the trauma. And now that we've discovered that we can actually heal some of this stuff and take care of it and get officers back to work and at a higher, better rate and more productivity than burning out at 15 or 20 years. We've proven it time and again that the agencies are investing a lot of money in us. And if we don't take care of each other, we're burning out at a very young rate or very young age.
Or just keeping them sane. It's not about like, it's mental health for people who are dealing with traumatic stuff all the time. It's like, it's interesting how now it's like, it's almost like they think Valor Station is like a place, like they equate it to the same thing as like
Another drug treatment facility. Or
yeah. Like it's the same kind of thing, which is really weird.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be a respite for law enforcement and first responders all across this country, and they need it. Can you imagine going to work for a career of 20 years with critical incidents on a daily basis? And we're involved in more things than most people see in 1 year of their life, and we do it for a career. So we need a break, and we need somewhere to go, and this is what we need.
Well, I'm surprised that somebody hasn't thought to do this prior to. Like, these things aren't popping up all over because, like you said, there's a huge need for it.
Well, I think that a lot of people have thought about it, but nobody's put the wheels to the road per se. And finally, we have Valor Station. We have great support. We have great people that are helping support it, and to put this program through. Because without persistence, it's never going to take off, and it's never going to go through. So I think it's just having the dedication to doing this program and utilizing this will be paramount. Because I know for myself, I send officers to treatment. There will be no other place that I'll send anybody but Valor Station now that once they're up and running.
Yeah.
Are there any other things like Valor Station going on or trying to be built up around the country, or is that it? Is that it right now?
Patrick could probably answer that question better than me, but there's none that I know of.
Yeah.
So about the Harbor of Grace.
Yeah, so right now there is a place that we are using, and it's in Havre de Grace, Maryland, up on the Chesapeake Bay, and the facility is called Harbor of Grace. They are a treatment center that specializes in substance abuse, but they also treat co-occurring issues as well. But they do a fantastic job with first responders, but they also treat the civilian population too. So that's as close as you can get, and they are fantastic. We love them. We've sent a lot of our men and women there and had great results with them. But this is going to be the key to Valor Station, and that is the fact that there's no civilian population there. It's only first responders. And the kicker is it will be a nonprofit. So like with Harbor of Grace and all of these other places that are for profit, they have to rely on, people either paying or insurance. I mean, and you can't fault them for that. That's just the way business is. That's exactly right. Well, if we have a man or woman that comes in and they need help and they're a first responder and they don't have insurance, Valor Station's going to scholarship them and still treat them. Well, the first thing when I tell people that, they say, well, if they're a first responder, of course they're going to have insurance. No, there are men and women that are working in municipalities in this country that do not offer health insurance.
Wow.
Whoa.
Insane.
Really? So there are departments.
So you're saying, wow.
We have deputy sheriffs that work 3 counties over from where Andy and I live. And that county is so rural and so small that unless your spouse carries insurance, you have none, and you're out there working as a law enforcement officer with zero insurance.
Jesus. That's scary.
People don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But with that said, if we had a man or woman come to us from an agency like that and say, I'm battling with, alcoholism, I need help, but I don't have any insurance, your traditional treatment center is going to say, I'm sorry, we can't help you unless you've got, $25,000, $30,000. And Valor Station will not turn anybody around. They will say, come on in, and we'll never talk money with them.
Well, I wonder.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering, how much of it is the stigma against drug use? It's all about drug use. This isn't just about drug use. This is just about helping people deal with the shit they deal with every day. So, I wonder if all these old Bettys, oh my God, there's a bunch of druggies running around. This is not about just drug use. It's about other aspects of PTSD or whatever.
Gentlemen, do you mind if I chime in for a second? This is Jim Bannish again.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's definitely not about drug abuse, and it's not about alcohol abuse. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I missed the beginning portion of this. And law enforcement goes through a heck of amount of stress. And I know firsthand. My brother was a lieutenant for the New York State Police, and in April 1st, 2008, he took his life. While in uniform, he went home for lunch, and that was the end of it. So it's not just about alcoholism. It's not just about drug abuse. This is about the mental damage and the stress that this job causes. So we need a place We need a place for respite, because what this job does to you, it erodes your soul. It erodes the person that you were before you became a police officer. I've seen it firsthand. My little brother is a trooper in Virginia. My son is a trooper in Virginia. My family bleeds blue, and there is nothing that we wouldn't do for our communities. But I'll tell you what, we've paid the price. My brother is not here because of it.
Wow. Well, that's, well, you know, see, that's the thing though. What we were saying, they got these, you know, old biddies, you know, that are complaining, I don't want any drug facility. And it's like, no, there's more to this. This is like what you just said. What you just said should be plastered all over that neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
The alcohol and the drug abuse are symptoms of the problem, not the problem.
Right. Right. And it's not just in like cruise control, you were pointing out, you know, it's not about just drugs and alcohol and this and that. It might be the guy who wakes up in the middle of the night having, you know, night terrors or whatever that is, you know, so it's dealing with that.
Well, if you're in pain, what are you going to do? You're going to use something to take care of that pain. Right. What's the most readily available drug in the United States? Alcohol. Alcohol. So what is, I mean, it's embedded in our culture that alcohol is the way to take care of it. Yeah. And it's wrong, and it's not the way to do it. But it's not because these guys and girls want to be alcoholics, and it's not that they want to drink. The problem is they can't get to sleep. They can't get those visions out of their head. They can't deal with the stress that they have going on. So what do? They numb it. And before you know it, it becomes a problem.
Yep. Wow. Yep. Man. That's wild. That's, you know, it just pisses you off that, you know, that there's people that are even fighting this. You know, this is there's a need for this. This is not something that's just, oh, well, it'll be a nice idea, you know.
Yeah. It's like, so I want to thank all three of you guys for I'm sure there's tons of other officers as well who are, you know, who are pushing this too. So, I mean, we have our little hole in the wall on our internet. But that's Max and I is like, because I couldn't be a police officer. We
try to help when we can, man. Do what we can, you know.
You know, like I don't have that mentality, and if you have that mentality, that doesn't mean you're like, oh, I'm strong. You know, like I'm a cop. You know, I don't know. I'm just glad to be able to help spread the word.
To be a supporter of Valor Station. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Or anything else that can help people get to this stuff, because I just couldn't imagine dealing with that every day. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm being honest. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, man.
You know, but other people are, you know, and those people should get help because they can do that kind of stuff. You know,
they're built for, well,
They should get that support.
Absolutely, they need it. And what's great is this, like, if say an officer in Vegas is having an issue, they would be sent to Valor Station, correct?
Mm-hmm. So Pat, tell them about the when we were out to dinner with a Las Vegas officer and a retired Maryland trooper, the phone call we got.
Yeah, so y'all's good friend Randy Sutton was here in Georgia visiting and touring Valor Station. And we also had a retired Maryland trooper. He's actually the one that is going to be running the Brothers in Blue Bash, George Wooden. And so we're all sitting at dinner in Augusta, and we're talking about Valor Station, and my phone rings, and it was a good friend of ours that just retired as the assistant chief of Bel Air Police Department in Texas, as a suburb of Houston. And he called and he said, hey, we got to get a guy on a plane and get him to Georgia tonight. And I said, for what? And he said, to Valor Station. And I said, what do you mean? He said, we've got a Texas Ranger that's in need of help. He is really, really in a bad shape and needs help. We're going to fly him to Georgia. And I said, wait, man, God, I would love to be able to take him, but we are still fighting this battle and we can't take any patients inpatient right now. And then they were just at a loss, or like at the time, I don't think we were dealing with Harbor of Grace yet. And so we were like, well, where do we send them?
Oh.
And this was coming straight from Texas, and the Texas Rangers were looking for, some place to send one of their people.
Isn't that horrible? So here it is. They think you have this facility up and running, and then they find out it's not, and but they're ready to send the guy. Like, this would be a perfect thing for him,
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Oh, God. Makes you grit your teeth.
but we're going to stay in the fight.
It's got to be so frustrating for you guys, but know this, know that I'm telling you, the vast majority of people are so grateful for first responders and police officers and just the people out there who can do that kind of thing every day. You know,
Yeah.
I know you guys hear a bunch of crap from everything else going out, you know, with the media and all that bullshit, but I'm sure you guys know that you guys probably hear it all the time, like, you know, that most people are like, thank God.
Yeah. Well, so I guess, you know, it's like you guys have more supporters than you think. You know what I mean? You have this 10%.
That's my point.
This 10% of assholes, you know, and then the rest
Yeah.
are people who do, you know, hey, support the first responders, support the military, that kind of thing. So, you know, just keep rolling is all we're saying, you know, just.
Yeah, I don't even think it's 10%. I think it's less than that, but you know, I think it's a case of the squeaky wheel getting the grease.
Yep.
I think that 2 or 3% that are against us have the loudest voice.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And they got the media behind them, which is ridiculous too. So it's like, you think it's like, oh my God, you're so, oh geez.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Hopefully we can. So where can we direct you guys? Where can we be directed to, or anybody? We can throw some links out or whatever to get the word out to support more of this stuff like that. In terms of
I'd say the
validation.
supporters page.
Yeah.
Okay. One you, Pat.
Okay.
All right. The Facebook page, supporters of Valor Station.
Supporters of Valor Station.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, you know, all you guys, Jim, Patrick, and Andy, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for your service. And this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we can't thank y'all enough for your support.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a small group. You know, we're not the biggest guys on the net, but like I said, whatever we can do to help is you know, whatever we can do to help.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Well, everybody, this has been great. I am Maxwell Silverhammer.
And I am Cruise Control.
And that's the story.
The story there.
Bitches.
Yes.
See ya.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred.